Oh, hi there, hello!
Come check out our new show,
So join us as we go!
Galavanting.
Greetings, fellow Watcher Imagineers. Tiki here!
And BlueDragonFive.
And tonight we are here to talk about the pilot of ABC's Galavant! Alright, enough singing. You know what we should do, BlueDragonFive? This just came to me randomly. We should do 3 random musical segments in the course of an episode, and that would include the intro and the outro, but just in the middle when we're talking about the episode, we should just do a random musical segment, just completely improvised.
I don't know. Neither you or I are Alan Menken, so I'm not sure if we can pull that off.
I'm not Alan Menken, but damn it, I've taken improv classes at the JC, so I think I can do it. Come on, amateur Hughes line is it anyways? Just spontaneously when it comes to us.
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe. All right, we'll put it on the back.
You know, Donny Osmond. Baby's a baby that just needs some loving until it turns into a yes.
Oh,
God. Sorry, folks, Johnny Bravo reference. But on to the topic of today. Galavant.
Galavant.
So catchy.
Yes.
Yes. So, folks, you'll probably be wondering, why on earth are these two schmucks talking about Galavant? I'll tell you why.
I'm kind of asking the same thing myself, but we'll get into that.
Well, the reason I brought this to Tiki's attention, we were debating upon whether to talk about this show or not. Well, we finished talking about Once Upon a Time. Yeah, we liked that show, we did. And, we're still debating if we get a chance to watch from the beginning, and not saying we're going to do a show on it or anything, but individually, if we watch it on our own, maybe, we might get into it more. Whereas we liked it going into it cold. So, anyway, so the point is, like, a lot of the Frozen stuff in that show was great. You know, you got like one of the best Disney princess movies in there, among the greats.
Yeah, and I also think it also had I think that the arc in Once Upon a Time with Frozen had, dare I say it, a much more compelling villain than the actual movie. As much as I love Hans.
Oh, Hans is hard to beat.
No, I don't know. I think.
Well,
Ingrid,
I mean, the villain was awesome.
I think Ingrid was a great villain. I mean, that's
Ingrid,
really.
Ingrid was great, but the reveal of Hans was also great.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the point is, so we're running on the high of Once Upon a Time, and then we realized, oh yeah, we're not coming back because all the Frozen stuff's done. Aw. Anyway, so we're pretty much just watching.
Yeah, we're not really interested in those, in the weird Cruella, Ursula, Maleficent storyline they got brewing up. Seems a little above our head.
At least without knowing the stuff that's come before us.
Exactly.
Anyways, the point I still kind of noticed a promo, a little commercial playing for this show called Galavant, and the big selling point, the marketing. I gotta give the show props for good marketing. Good trailers, good marketing and stuff, because they really shoved this down your throat in a good way. The music in this, Galavant.
I've heard people complain about it in a bad way. I have definitely heard people go on about. I mean, to tell you the truth, I just don't watch TV. I get most of my stuff online. But from what I've heard from people who watch TV still, it's don't local news stations and everything even use the Galavant theme, and they use it for every commercial, every
that was
promo.
Well, yeah, that was just for the first time it premiered. Then they just it was actually, I thought it was kind of a cool idea. They used, for all the other promos of the shows coming back from a break or something, they had the actors of Galavant sing the promos for their shows.
Oh,
I thought that was really clever. It is basically a thing for when it premiered. They did that, and that was really funny.
Okay, I said, I've just heard people. I've heard it got on people's nerves, but I can also see the cleverness of it.
So the point is, one of the big selling points of this was that they mentioned people that people that worked on Tangled worked on this, and of course, think about it. Once Upon a Time, Frozen, Once Upon a Time, Tangled in a show, and the show looked kind of promising, kind of funny, bit of Monty Python, Mel Brooks in there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm saying it had some things going for it, and they had a lot of guest stars. Point is, it had a lot of catchy things in the promos. It kind of got me thinking, maybe I'll check it out, maybe I won't. And I decided to check it out one day, and I thought it was really good and worth talking about. Because again, it got the Tangled sense of humor is in the show, but it's its own thing, and I think it's worth talking about. To put it simply.
Okay. I admit I would not be sitting here in front of this microphone right now if Weird Al wasn't going to show up in this thing at some point.
Well, let me say this going into
that's kind of what I'm holding out hope for.
Well, let me say the thing that officially made me want to check out the show. Actually, the big thing that made me want to check out the show.
Okay.
Well, an actor I'm familiar with is in this show, and he's my favorite part of this show. And his name's Timothy O'Mund, if I'm pronouncing his name right. Munson, sorry. It's Timothy O'Munson. Now, for those who may be familiar, he's from the show Psych. Now, I know you're not familiar with that show, Tiki.
No.
But point is, imagine like the most like deadpan cop, well, not deadpan, most like hilariously serious cop on a show where you have comedic psychics as your detectives.
Okay.
Point is, he's like the ultimate straight man who he delivers his lines so straight, even though in the most absurd situations he steals every scene because he's just so ridiculous a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one taking things seriously in that show, and the psychics are messing with him all the time.
And it sounds like Josh Brolin in Inherent Vice, but you probably won't get that reference.
Yeah. But the point is that Timothy O'Munson, he's a really good actor, and he doesn't get to play like inherent comedy a lot. He really got to stretch his wings in this. And the point is, I saw he was in this, and first was that him? No, it can't be. And I'm rewatching it. Oh my God, it's him! And I decided to give it a watch. And again, he's my favorite part of this show. And
I will give you that, my friend. I will give you that. The King Richard character is by far the most entertaining thing.
He's the reason I keep coming back to the show. I'll tell you that much, okay? But we'll get into it. So I guess a little bit of background how the show got started.
Yeah, by all means. Yeah.
So not much, but Dan Fogelman, you may recognize the name, Tiki. He's written and participated.
I recognize the name, yes, but what's he done?
He's written a lot of stuff, but particularly he's had a hand in a lot of animation.
Okay.
Here's obviously Tangled. That's the big thing.
Sure, definitely.
Also, and this is kind of like a little bit of the good and the bad. He's worked on the Cars films.
Yeah, like you said, a little good, a little bad, because I think the original Cars is really underrated. I think Cars 2 isn't as terrible as some people say, so...
I'm a defender of Cars 2 also, so I sympathize. Anyway.
Yeah, Cars 2 defender high fives. Yeah, prove the nostalgia critic wrong. There are people that like that movie.
And also, there's Fred Claus.
Fred Claus, you know I'm mixed on Fred Claus.
I thought we hit it off good on Fred Claus.
No, I'm mixed on Fred Claus. I'm still mixed on Fred Claus.
The point is, Dan Fogelman. Dan Fogelman's a funny writer. He's written some good stuff, and he's got a good sense of humor. The point is, he wrote Tangled, and apparently he got something going around with the other people he's worked on Tangled with Alan Menken and Glenn Slater, who wrote and composed a lot of the songs in Tangled.
Of course, and obviously Menken is like a huge name in the realm of Disney. Did songs for, God, what was it, like from Little Mermaid all the way up until like still doing songs to this day. Very prolific songwriter. Aladdin. Well, Little Mermaid through Aladdin, and then.
Point is the Renaissance. It's Renaissance.
Yeah, but I'm saying he also came back and he did other things too. Like, didn't he do? No, I'm sorry. Randy Newman did Princess and the Frog. For some reason, I thought Menken did Princess and the Frog.
Well, Menken's even done some Marvel stuff too. He did the Captain America song, the Star Spangled Man. That's
awesome. That's awesome.
Well, Menken's been busy and being really cool with his songs. Again, he's kind of like the Alan Silvestri, only for the lyrics and the songs.
Of course.
The point is, so they all collaborate, they get together. I guess they're approached about doing something because Once Upon a Time is popular. I presume.
Yes, it is.
So essentially, they collaborate. Let's do like a mini series for like a musical fairy tale comedy.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit more cynical than you are. Okay, you know what my theory about this show's existence is?
What's your theory on the show's existence, Tiki?
Well, hey, everyone's singing "Let It Go" and people can't get it out of their heads, so let's just give them 8 episodes with 3 earworm songs each and see if any of them stick. Honestly, that's kind of what comes to my mind.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
You did not know I was sad and strange and perhaps a little. You didn't know this the first time you met me? I mean, I know I am sad and strange. I know that much. I don't know. I'm like 6'3" and 220 pounds, so I don't know about little, but sounded strange, definitely.
You can't just let me quote Toy Story in peace, can you?
No, I can't.
Anyway, so what I think they're going for, from the non-cynical point of view, is that they're going for like a self-referential love letter to the fairy tales, but also with that slant on it of kind of the absurdity of it all. So I like that about it. Kind of like a 60s Batman almost, like pointing out the absurdity within the dialogue and stuff. Almost. Not to the grand extent the 60s Batman show does it, but you know what I mean. It's self-referential. A bit of a Monty Python vibe.
Oh, yeah, Monty Python, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's definitely, I think, one of the biggest influences here.
Oh, yeah.
What's your opinion on Monty Python, like a Holy Grail?
I don't have much of a Monty Python opinion. I don't watch enough of his stuff, but I think it's funny, the bits I have seen. Like, you know, like, the It's Just a Flesh Wound, hilarious.
Yeah, you know, I like Holy Grail was one of those movies that I was made to watch over and over again in high school because I had awesome high school teachers that showed me awesome movies. So, yay, thanks, high school teachers. But no, you know, Holy Grail, it's just definitely one of those where it's like I gained so much respect for comedy through watching that. And admittedly, Holy Grail is the most popular Python movie, and it's the one I'm by far the most familiar with. And so that makes me a very, 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 like, base-level Python fan. But I love what they did in Holy Grail. And I totally, to tell you the truth, I kind of think that Galavant is maybe trying a little bit to, I don't know, trying to recapture some of that Spam-A-Lot magic a little bit. You know what Spam-A-Lot is, right?
I think I know what it is, yeah. I haven't seen it myself.
Spam-A-Lot's the stage adaptation of Holy Grail, which honestly, from what I know of Spam-A-Lot, I feel like Galavant kind of takes even more from Spam-A-Lot than it does from the original Holy Grail.
Well, I mean, I think it's a step better than kind of most, not all, but like most of these, most of like these theatrical productions that kind of take the fairy tale slant and make it a little more cynical.
Well, I was going to say, like, if you were going to call this a step better than Holy Grail, I'm done.
No.
I'm done.
I mean, like, how your other stuff, like, I mean, this might kind of make some people drop their drawers. I mean, kind of like Into the Woods a lot of the time.
Okay, no, that's a perfect example.
Like Into the Woods for me personally. I'm not going to get into like a whole thing here because we focus on the show. I'm just going to say Into the Woods. I think it's too cynical. That's my opinion.
No, yeah, I had a little bit of an interest in seeing Into the Woods when I thought it was an animated movie, which was what I initially thought it was going to be, and I just thought it was intriguing that Disney would go that route with an animated movie, but then
it's not.
It's live action, it's frickin' Johnny Depp, it's the same director that directed Pirates 4, it's like, no, I'm not interested.
Well, let me say one last thing on Galavant before we jump into it here.
Okay.
I think the best word to describe it is this is a spoof. It's a comedic fairy tale. Well, not just fairy tale, but you know, it's comedic, medieval fairy tale spoof.
Yeah, absolutely. Where I feel like Into the Woods, like you said, is definitely a lot more cynical, a lot more just like, hey, check out these fairy tales and check out how messed up they are. Ooh, deep psychological messed up things in fairy tales. Whereas Galavant is much more like, yay, it's Galavant, we're going around and we're adventuring and dragons and singing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see your point.
Yeah, okay, well, let's get into it then. Let's go through the recap.
All right. Well, so we open with a very catchy song.
Basically praising Galavant, giving us an intro to Galavant. Really a nice expository song on Menken's part.
It is. Yeah, it really gets you right into it. I like how, literally, I wrote in my notes, literally, first minute in, sex is happening.
Yes, now I want to discuss this, Tiki. This is important. This is kind of going off of my... Now, I'll admit, first and foremost, I do like this show, and I'll admit the main reason I like this show is for the performances and the acting. Mm-hmm. And the production. The production design, I think, is gorgeous on this show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not as good as Once Upon a Time, obviously, but I think it's good. In places, I think it looks really good.
I think it's, I don't know. I'm judging it based on Holy Grail, and I think that might be a little unfair.
Well, look, yeah,
But
I mean, let's not compare the whole. Come on, we can't compare the Holy Grail.
I'm trying not to, man. It's like I can't help it. This series is just inviting comparisons for me.
Well, the only reason they're inviting comparisons is because they literally, in a lot of the promotional material, they said it's basically a cross between Once Upon a Time and the Holy Grail.
Well, I didn't even see those promotions. I'm just going based on the way the show's kind of presenting itself, and I can't help but just, I don't know. I'm just a big Holy Grail fan. What can I say?
Okay. But what was my point? Oh yeah, here's something important I want to talk about with the show. Now, what I was saying is, I'll admit the show does have some weak points and some points that kind of lose me on. I'll admit that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 2 points that do lose me on this show. They're both in so far almost every episode. Okay, now the first part I'm willing to let slide, but I just want to talk about what do you think of the sex? Is it too much how they work it in there?
Oh, my friend, you would not like Game of Thrones. That's all I can tell you.
No, I'm not.
If sex bothers you.
Not that. It's the issue. No, the only issue is, like, again, kind of going into the woods. I don't want it to be like. I'm glad they didn't go for an oversimplified. I approve of their integration of the sex in this comparatively to other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it is kind of like 1 minute in as sex is already happening, so it did make me kind of feel a little bit like, really, that's the direction we're going in here? Just lots of sex? I don't know.
Because, I mean, I liked how they, if they are going to integrate, at least they're not making it too cheap, is what I'm saying. At least they're making it funny, the use of it in this show. And it's like, it's more realistic.
Right.
Basically, again, I like kind of the, I've always said this, I like the illogical logic. And the illogical logic is, okay, well, they are, they are medieval here, but they're still, they're people. So they're, fairy tale or no, they are people, so they're going to do things.
Right, yeah, and I think in a lesser show, I think their sexual jokes would kind of be more like, oh, hey, look at the bar maiden with her big blossoming tits sticking out of her shirt. You know what I mean?
Right, and I mean, what I mean is, it kind of reminds me a bit of how Once Upon a Time. It's like, again, they are fairy tale creatures in that, but they do, like we've seen Regina and Robin. They've had some fun times.
Oh yes. So Robin especially. Robin would sacrifice his kid to be with Regina, but that's a whole different story.
I mean, he's practicing. He's having target practice with Regina on a regular basis. We can gather. It's
whoa.
The point is, I mean, that's where I was thinking about when they started bringing that up in here. So it's like, I like how they're kind of keeping that vibe. Like, this is a little more realistic. They're having the slant on the fairy tale stuff. Now they're seeing what happens after the happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of vibe, and I like that. So I'm just saying it's something that I think was a little jarring for people freshly coming into this, maybe.
As it was for me, yeah, I will admit it. I will admit so.
But I think
like I said, literally 1 minute in, and sex is happening.
Yeah, well integrated, because literally the line is like, well, not the lyric, I guess, is more so like, basically his regular sex with the Madeline. Girl, the main girl, like, she's literally saying his name in the song too. Acrobatic Galavant.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I'll give it points for, like, at least they're getting a little creative with not making it just like, oh yes, we're that kind of show. But no, it's like, it happens.
Right.
We'll get to my other gripe is more legitimate, but we'll get to it when it happens.
Sure. Okay.
Anyway, so we had really catchy, and I like how reverent it is in that it's there's a bit in the song where a guy says, oh yeah, but a Galavant, and they're talking about the guy says, and he's a regular cliche.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they are pointing at we're pointing at how the tropes of the medieval and the fairy tales are in this, most definitely.
God damn it, I'm gonna be the cynical one throughout this whole thing. I just know it. Oh God!
I think we'll get past it once King Richard enters the picture. We'll get there.
This is not going to go well because, like, for me, I kind of feel like, yeah, if you explain that you're being cliche, it doesn't really excuse you from being cliche. I'm saying that's always kind of bugged me.
No, Tiki. I mean, I think they're just saying the concepts are cliche, but I think what they're doing with it is not cliche, though.
I guess. If you haven't seen any Monty Python. I hate to keep going back to that point. God damn it.
I'm just saying it's an uphill comparison.
Oh, man. Oh, this is going to be difficult. Okay, keep
Okay,
going. Keep going.
anyway, so after we have a really catchy song introducing Galavant, and obviously, he's in love. He's head over heels with this Madeline girl. Then King Richard happens upon it. Again, this is all really wonderful exposition delivered in song compared to just us
It
telling.
is, yeah, it is, and it's like what, like 2.5 minutes, and then at the end of the
Yeah.
2.5 minutes, you get everything set up. So yeah, I will give it that. It is very much very well paced for sure, and I think this whole show is. I mean, of course, it's essentially 8 20-minute episodes, so yeah, it's got to have a good pace to it.
Yeah, I think that the pace in the songs is really good. So I think so King Richard basically kidnaps her, and they basically ask for her hand in marriage, and he says more like demanded, and kidnaps her.
Yes.
to marry her, and then we see just Galavant now he's like he's on his way to save her, and then we get the famous Galavant, which, man, that's so cool. I love that in the promo, though. They have that whole Galavant at the end. Okay, so then we pick up with the Madeline and her husband-to-be, King Richard. So what's happening there?
Well, he's essentially just bragging about power.
Uh-huh.
And no, I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Well, let's just talk about this character for a second, because he's by far the most entertaining thing about this. I mean, I also like the Galavant character, to a certain extent, but this guy just knocks it out of the park with everything he does.
Oh yes, especially I love the King's henchman. We'll get into him. He's my favorite. Oh, I love his henchman.
If I will, he might be the King's very own Gilzeem.
Yes. And characters with G's in their name are awesome in these shows.
Right? Oh, God.
Anyway. Okay, so the point is, like, King Richard, he's, let's see, let's love this, that he's verifying the fact that he and Madeline, they're going to basically say, okay, are you ready for the wedding? He says, yep. And says, of course, afterwards we're going to do it, right? He says, yeah, sure. It's just he keeps verifying that they're going to have sex.
Okay, but that's fine, but we are going to do it. We're not just going to lie in bed. We are going to.
Yeah, we're not just going to open presents. We're going to do it, though, right? It says, yeah. It's just verifying.
But of course we can open some presents.
Yes.
But we are going to do it.
Here's the thing about King Richard's so great about him. He's so sympathetic, and it's hilarious.
He's sympathetic just because he's a freaking socially awkward weirdo.
Yeah, again, but he has it's such a great balance that he is the villain. He is by all definition the villain, but he's like, it's not just. It's like a Dr. Draken type villain from Kim Possible 2.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
Yes, he's evil, but he's not really harmful evil, even though in this version does definitely imply does terrible things off screen. But he But I mean, he means well. He just wants a simple thing. He wants his wife to love him.
In a way, I can kind of see how he's kind of like the Ice King from Adventure Time, even though I don't watch much of that show. But
I can see that too, yeah, a little. But,
from what I know about the Ice King, it's like he's always just like, oh, I'm gonna kidnap princesses and then hope that they love me.
Yeah, it's like the king actually believes the king has such an ego on him. He thinks, okay, I kidnap this girl and ask her to marry me, so if she marries me, then she'll love me.
Oh, what do you mean, Princess Buttercup? You won't marry me because I kidnapped you? Okay, I'm doing a bad Tom.
Can we not do Adventure Time, please?
I'm gonna stop. Bad Tom Kenny impression.
Anyway, the point is, the idea that the king is really endearing. He actually believes this relationship can work, even though there's no possible way it could work. Yet we're rooting for the guy a little.
Right.
Anyway, the point is that the king, just the gag, he's verifying sex, and it's like a regular thing. He's just making sure. Oh yeah, we are going to do it, though. Of course, they're not going to do it.
Okay, so then Galavant, he comes charging in, and he knocks out a guard.
He's knocking people out. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It is cool.
I think he says the Galavant chorus right as he knocks like 2 people out at the same time.
Yeah,
Galavant!
And you know what's so cool? Before he knocks him out, like they say, oh, hey, it's Galavant. And then also the last guy says, fall. And the guy falls because he's this one into a fight with the warrior Galavant. Okay, so then, here's the bit that also sold me in the promo. This bit really captured my imagination. This bit of just, he walks in there, he's all confident, saying, he crashes the wedding, king there, and then
Right.
Madeline there singing, Madeline, I love you, and I've come here, and of course you're going to say yes, because why wouldn't you? Then she says, actually, like, I don't take his money and power and fame, take my love. We're going to escape on love. Says, well, actually, Galavant, I'm going to go with money and fame. And this king's ecstatic.
Yeah. Yeah, modern day sensibilities.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It kind
yeah.
of made me think a little bit of Frozen too. Maybe that's another reason to kind of agree. It's like the whole. It's the slant. It's the illogical logic. Oh yeah, well maybe that is how it's gonna go. Like of all the classic tales we've ever heard, don't you think one of these times the princess would go for the money? Because people in real life, they do go for the money in the whole. It's not a smart choice, but people do that. So it was refreshing.
It's not a smart choice depending on your opinion on your view on the matter. But
Well, no, I'm saying it's not a smart choice, but to people.
Right. Yeah.
I'm saying people will pick money over the sensible thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah. The point is, I love that slant on. That's another thing that's really hooked me on the series. So, yeah, they are pointing out the holes in the tropes a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And then basically Gavin's kind of caught off guard, like, wait, what? And then Gareth comes over and says, I could fight Gareth, and like we could have like an awesome, like a really really long drawn out battle, but she's just gonna pick me in the end. Says, no, actually no. And then Gareth comes over, and punches him, and then the king tries to knock him out. It's like night, get it, night. But anyway, so he just taps him with his foot because he can't knock him out because he's so prissy.
Mm-hmm.
But Gareth, can you? Night. Okay, so Gareth, real quick, I gotta say something about Gareth.
Yeah.
Okay, so I recognize Gareth. He's I don't want to say character actor because he kind of plays. He doesn't play that wide variety of character from what I've seen, but he's been in a lot of stuff. And two notable things. Most recently, he was in Elementary in a really good role. He was Sebastian Moran, one of Moriarty's men. And soon, I heard about this, and I saw him in the promo. Soon he's going to be on a bad guy on Arrow.
Oh, okay. That's
so his name's Vinnie Jones. And he's really good. And anyway, so yeah, he's playing Gareth, and Gareth is like kind of like the Bob the Goon of henchmen here. He's
absolutely,
cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
The point is, he is just there, no matter how ridiculous his boss is. Again, he's like a Shigo too of a Dr. Draken type here.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
So basically just kicks Galavant, knocks him out, and then we're one.
Face.
Oh yeah, really nice shot too of like just the blackness from the POV. Anyway, so we're 1 year later. Tiki, what's happening?
1 year later, and in walks the character of Sid. He is Galavant's squire. Do you want to talk a little bit about this guy?
Oh no, Sid's cool. I think he was on the show Glee. I don't watch that, but
okay, that would make sense. ABC, yeah, right. Okay, so he wakes him up. Galavant, he's all depressed. It's been like a year since the kidnapping debacle happened, so
he's drunk and depressed.
Oh yeah, he's got a bottle. He's unshaven. He's looking really wearied and haggard.
He's put on some weight. I like how Sid is this kind of character. He's his sidekick. He's the one pointing at the sire. You're wait, does he call him sire, or does he just call him? He calls him something, doesn't he?
Who, Sid?
Would a squire call the guy sire, or is that just for kings?
I don't know.
Anyways, the point is, he tells Galavant, look at you, you're wallowing in self-pity here. This is like, basically, you get a sense Sid is really, he's there for Galavant through thick and thin, and he's basically saying, look, I got a job. But he keeps trying to get him jobs to get him out of the house, pretty much. He's like his Alfred, almost.
Right.
Yeah, like I'd send you with a chimpanzee if it would get you out of this house. Anyways, the point is, he says, I got a job. Well, look, I have a potential client here for you, and you should consider this mission. Mm-hmm. In walks Princess. I'm going to say her name once because the gag, she has a long name.
Of course.
Isabella Lucia Marie Elizabeth of Valencia.
Yeah, Valencia. Yeah, they decided to name this kingdom after the place where Six Flags Magic Mountain is. Good job. That's a very on-the-nose reference. I guess, to be fair, Valencia is also, I believe, where Cal Arts is.
Yes.
So yeah, to be fair, I guess that's probably more what they're going for. But every time I see Valencia, I'm just like, Magic Mountain. There's
a cool name to use, though. It sounds king to me.
Well, I mean, did you know in Beauty and the Beast, you know that one kind of hidden thing where they have the one sign that says Anaheim this direction, Valencia this direction?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know about that?
Yeah, the sign with all the different directions are actual places, and
Right, yeah, exactly. So the joke is that it's kind of like basically like Beauty and the Beast is in Southern California, just like ancient Southern California, because it's all like pointing like geographically accurate spaces, like like Anaheim is north of Valencia. I don't know, but
Right.
anyways.
Okay, so this beautiful princess walks in, Princess Isabel. She walks in, basically pleads for Galavant because her father's kingdom's been taken over. She's been hiding in the cellar with the Jewel of Valencia, which is kind of the only powerful thing left that the king doesn't have. It basically begs for his help. Help me retake my kingdom. By the way, it's an important set piece here. King has taken over Valencia, so he is literally in Valencia for all the sets. It's not his own castle.
Very true, yeah.
Okay, that's good. That explains why it's not such an easy journey for these guys. It's always somewhere else.
Right.
Anyway, so Prince, he begs for Galavant, so Galavant turns her away because again he's a drunken layabout, depressed and whatnot. And this he's just puzzled, like, what's happened to you? He says, I'm retired, and he kicks her out, and Sid, then she
literally kicks her out.
Yeah,
Just
Sid walks
her out, slams the door.
Yeah, Sid walks by as she walks away, and he says, "Oh, he's impossible." And Sid's like, "Oh, there goes another one."
Yeah.
Now, I think the time jumps here a little. Not sure. How do you feel about the time jumps here? Because we got 2 months to go right now.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, well, that was a little confusing the first watch.
It was yeah, I was not a fan of this. I don't know. I thought they were just kind of making. I honestly just thought this whole time jump was like, I think it could have been explained in exposition, and I think it just made the whole thing a little bit more convoluted than it needed to be, to tell you the truth.
Because it just seems like it's happening now. That's the thing. It's like
exactly. Yeah.
I don't know, but still, I mean, it's not the worst. Not the worst thing. You just have to pay attention for it, I guess. But yeah, you're right.
No, yeah, I hear you. But like I said, I just feel like the whole scene just could have been done in exposition.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, so let's the fun stuff begins. So, what's happening, Tiki?
Well, so it says too much earlier. We have a jester who I assume is going to become a major character based on.
Yes, he comes back. Yes.
Okay, yeah. We have a jester, and he's telling what's he telling, like horrible knock orange jokes.
Yeah, he's telling very basic jokes, and then Madeline finds him hilarious. King just doesn't get them.
Oh.
Like basically he's telling like the orange and banana jokes, like knock.
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
And the king just doesn't get it. I don't get the appeal, Gareth. And Gareth knows it. You can basically, it's really obvious in the dialogue, the implication that Chester and the Queen are going to their chambers and they're rehearsing.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
The point is, and basically the king is so. The king's so dumb he doesn't realize yet Gareth does, and he's like not hurting the king's feelings, but he's just implying it like, oh yeah, there's something you don't know going on here, sir.
Yeah, the queen she basically sneaks off like, oh, I'm gonna go compliment the jester.
Yeah, it's an obvious straightening the royal jewels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically it's going over it. So I feel like the humor's just going over my head, Gareth. Oh yes, sir, something's going over your head. Gareth is the perfect straight man to the king.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And essentially, so we see Madeline after her time being married to the king after about a year or so. She's become spoiled. You see, she's really in charge of the kingdom. She wears the pants, so to speak. Yeah, and she's nagging the king to find she's nagging King Richard to find the Jewel of Valencia and saying I know you can do this better. Galavant would have found it by now. What did you say? Galavant would have found it by now. I heard you. I just want to make sure. It's so funny.
I think it's funny. It's a good kind of commentary where it's like, even though the king literally has everything, she's still pushing him no, you still got to just extort your power more.
Yeah, I like the reverse of that again. Now she's I just love this reverse of it's not just the king being an evil guy reigning over you're my slave. No, it's she's calling all the shots. It's like if he were smart he'd regret the marriage and annul it or something. But no, he just says he wants to please her. He wants this girl.
Exactly. Okay, so
Also, at some point, I'm not sure if it's now or not, but he points out like she. It's probably later, and if I was mentioning that, so I don't forget. But mentions
mhm.
that she's been saving her chassis, and he's been respecting that. So since that wedding night, he still has not consummated the
Oh
marriage,
dear.
and she
Oh
just
dear.
and she claims it's because she begged him to preserve her chastity. I guess she really doesn't
Mhm.
like this guy. She's so mean to the king. It's so horrible. I mean, horrible and like, oh, you feel bad for him.
Well, I mean, like, do you think in a way she's almost kind of like the main villain?
Yes, I think. Well, again, she's really running all the evil stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, the king's
Right.
not an angel himself, but still, we get more sympathy for the king than we do her.
Because it's like she left Galavant to be with the
Yeah,
king, and now she's not happy with the king, and so now she's just ruling over everything.
yeah, yeah. I think she's going to be our villain by the end of this, more than the king, which makes me hope the king doesn't bite or anything.
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. Okay.
Yeah, I hope they don't just comedically kill off the king, because I don't want that to happen. I like the king.
Yeah. No,
Anyway,
if they killed off the king, that would be very bad, because that is like, he is by far the most entertaining character, so.
yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
what's that?
What's happening?
So
So,
I think the sex jokes in this scene are really kind of I think this is the most Python-esque scene.
I would agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically saying, "Oh, there's something going over your head." So it feels like Pythonish humor, which I did like.
So a servant wheels in a very noisy tray full of chicken.
Oh, I love this. This is the guy who completes the trio of awesomeness within this little our bad guy circle here, the chef.
Right, right.
Yeah, because we got King Richard, Gareth, and the chef.
He goes on like a little monologue about how King Richard's killed like generations of his family.
You've killed every father in my family, sir. Oh, good, good.
Oh
And
god.
again, just the king in this scene after he kind of eats the chef. And again, I just love that the chef's going to keep coming back. It's kind of this comedic trio. The three of these have a great rapport with each other. You're going to see it gets really funny.
Very true. Okay, cool.
But the point is, we see how sympathetic the king is in this little song. This song is awesome, by the way. But it's first after he mentions like she's promised chastity, so I haven't been able to do anything yet. And she always talks about him, about Galavant, and he goes Galavant, Galavant, blah 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 blah, Galavant. He pretty much just goes on a rampage of what he wants one thing more than his wife, to kill Galavant. She keeps incessantly praising him when she should, like, still in love with him instead of being in love with the king, which really just ticks him off.
I love the whole bit where all the well, first of all, the guard literally orders everyone to start singing.
Now here's the funny part. I had to rewind this because it cracked me up so much. I didn't catch this the very first time, so the king, it's really well choreographed number of the king dancing with the servants as like saying what he's gonna do to Galavant,
Right.
like rip his balls off. He had to put a sword, stab him with swords. All places, rip his eyes out. All the horrible things. Kind of like a Mr. Santa, like the torturing Mr. Santa Claus song in Nightmare Before Christmas. He kidnapped the Santa Claus. In a way, also
yeah.
all the horrible tortures he has in mind. But
Exactly.
as he he links arms with with Gareth and like another guy, and there's doing this little jazzy tap number down the way, and then basically suddenly Gareth turns around, and says, "Everybody sing!" Oh, I love Vinnie Jones. He's abiding by the madness, no matter how he's delivering this ridiculous line so straightly and seriously. It's
yeah.
Everybody sing, and they all sing out of fear.
Oh yeah. And of course the choreography is great because all these servants, like, they really don't want to be doing this. They're just kind of like scared of him. And then, but the king, he's really into it. So it's just kind of like this dichotomy of humor. Really good
Again, I really like the wardrobe also. It was with like the armors and stuff we're gonna see in these episodes.
Okay, so let's see.
So after they have like a lot of dancing, and they find so after the little dance and musical number about torturing and killing Galavant, what he wants to do, basically he says, "Okay, we'll find the gem." He basically says to Gareth, "Okay, we got to find that gem so we can shut her up, make her happy." And this bit's hilarious to end it off on. He walks away to go about his business, and he like says to Gareth, Aren't you glad I didn't say banana? Not funny at all, sir. Thank you. It's just such a perfect relationship between these two guys. He runs through the humor in his head, and of course the Garrus of people pleaser is not funny at all, sir. And just like the King's like, okay, it's very good.
Mhm.
It's really funny.
All right, so next scene, Galavant, he's at a bar, he's drinking, and he's really not a mess. He's really a mess of himself right now. He asked Tommy, the bartender, "Hey, fix me bucket, Tommy." I don't know why I'm doing that accent. I apologize. And Tommy's just, he's like, "No, man, you're embarrassing yourself." And, and he is. He's in general just making an ass out of himself.
Give me my lunch and dinner, man.
Oh, God. But, so Isabella comes in and she continues the story. Let's see.
So pretty much, this is funny. Galavant, he just bums lunch off of the princess. Says, "Tell me that story of yours."
Right.
And she buys him lunch and beer, pretty much.
Oh, yeah, his lunch and dinner.
Yes, his lunch and dinner. So what's happening? So basically, we see this again. The king is hilarious in all these scenes. So the king is conversing with her parents.
Right.
So basically, we see her spying on the events going on. basically following up the scene we just saw. King brings in the parents to find out where the gem is, because again, he's taking over the kingdom. So they are all there. I love the king's approach here. He's being so pleasant despite the fact that he's done horrible things.
Right.
He just says, "Oh, well, what do you want with us?" "Oh, listen, don't be afraid. I mean, I haven't killed you. That's something, right? That's something good." It's love the idea that
I killed massive amounts of people this week, but I did not kill you.
Again, I just love the idea that the king is trying to be a better person to please his wife.
Even though he's horrible, he's clearly a horrible person still, but he's making the effort.
Yeah, and I respect that. I really love that. He's actually making a genuine effort. He's trying to be a nicer guy. He doesn't want to be like a mean kid, but he has to be. He doesn't care about what people think of him. He doesn't care about doing bad things, but he just doesn't want to be thought of as the bad guy.
Mm.
Just doing it. So I rule this kingdom now. Don't pay attention to the fact that I killed everyone to get there. But come on. So anyway, he's interrupted for a moment when he has a catch in the throat. "Oh, Gareth, I have a little tickle in my throat. Fetch me some tea, please." Says, "Tea!" Then the chef comes and gives some tea.
Hey, you must have a cup of tea, indeed.
Yes, it's
Kelowna right there.
pretty much like the chef brings some tea. He's like, "Was there a little bit of lemon in here?" Said, "Yes, sir. It's very nice." A moment of pause there.
Right.
Very.
Hey, you want one of my lemon snow cones?
I'm gonna pray if you're talking about Monsters Incorporated.
Okay, so what's going on now?
I remember the plague gag. Remember before he gets the tea, he's like complaining to Gary, "Oh, it's the plague. I know it's not the plague."
Right.
I just love this neurotic king too. He's so funny.
Probably one of my favorite moments with him is, the parents are finally just like, "Okay, so what do you want with us?" And then, the guy's like, "You know what? My wife, she could be a beep, and she wants the jewel."
Yeah.
Fuck. And then, the guys are saying, like, no, that jewel is, like, just completely sacred to us. And then I love this. I love how casually he goes. He's just like, oh, I totally understand. Can I have it?
Again, he's trying to be rational.
Right. Oh, I totally understand, but can I have it?
It's like he's such a childlike king. It's funny.
Right.
But however, this is my legitimate complaint that unfortunately has not been resolved yet. That I really don't like. The bleep. I hate the bleep.
Yeah.
The bleep completely takes me out of it.
I totally agree with you.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give him. Like, I'm not one of those guys who's gonna say, "Oh, wait, this is completely inaccurate." Of like, they wouldn't have this medieval technology back then. No, I'm not gonna be that guy. But still, when they do things like the bleep, it's like a little too modern for me. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like, is this supposed to be like a TV PG show? Like, what are the restrictions? Is that why they're doing the bleeps? That they can't say the word bitch?
I don't know. I'm just gonna say Gareth in one of these
Doesn't The
episodes.
Simpsons say the word bitch like all the time? Like
No, 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 no.
PG TV shows can get away with saying the word
No.
bitch.
They say that word in the show. It's like what Gareth says, which I assume is the C word. That gets bleeped.
Oh, okay. I
No,
gotcha.
I think the king says like she can be like that, or the point is they do say that word later on in the show. It's just it's at some point in one of the episodes. I forget which one out of the four so far, but
Hmm.
the point they can say stuff like that, but they just can't say. I think Gareth says really filthy things, and they keep bleeping it. So I'm wondering how much. I wonder if they intend to actually. It sounds like at least if not this episode, one of the episodes coming up, like the third one. I think he really says what I believe to be a lot of nasty words. I think they're just.
Right,
I think they're
right.
always going to be bleeps. I don't think they're intended to be uncensored. The
Okay,
point
fair,
is, I
fair.
just hate the bleep. It just takes me out of it. Like, okay, now it's just you're breaking the. It's like too much breaking the fourth wall there. I mean, come on. I'm with
I
you.
see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I'm sucked in. Like, I'm sucked into the adventure of okay, we're kind of on this farcical journey that is like we're having characters with like characters with legitimate problems in themselves. Like they're dealing with legitimate problems. We're rooting for them. Yet, of course, it's an absurd situation
Hmm.
overall, like what's actually happening, but they're taking it seriously, which is hilarious. But then they do something like this, like okay, now I'm watching people on a show. I'm not watching an actual adventure here. Come on.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's my big gripe with the show overall. Just I hate the bleeps. And then it's just I love how Gareth is just in this episode particularly. Gareth just interjects like his his own devious sense of humor. He says like he's a bleep. And it's like Gareth, stop it. Just the king has to rein Gareth in now and again.
Hmm.
Again, he asks for the jewel, and then he says, "Okay, no more." Basically, he promises, like, give me the gem, no more violence. Okay, violence.
Right.
And now there's violence. Oh, actually, remember. Okay, now the lemon gag was now. Now he says, the chef brings him tea. He says, "Oh, there's a little bit of lemon. It's delightful. Kill him." Then he orders them to be killed, and the princess is found out. Like, oh no, don't find her. Back to the story being told. Galavant's having his lunch.
Right, he's feasting away.
Yep.
And then Bella, she kind of presses him for his backstory.
Yeah, like you're a mess. What happened to you? And I love Galavant's backstory, by the way.
Hmm.
I think it's a really good idea for his backstory.
No, it is. It is. It kind of fits with the name, definitely. So his parents were constantly fighting, and because of that, he kind of devoted his life to resisting the concept of love. And he kind of devoted himself to just bettering himself in all kinds of different ways, training, educating himself, just going out and having life experiences. And no, yeah, I do think it makes for a pretty interesting character just kind of on that basis, for sure. I do think it's compelling.
And then eventually he fell in love, and he fell head over heels, and like he fell hard. And then he says, "Well, she fell softer," because
Hmm.
again
Oh, yeah.
she stepped on his heart at the altar there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think that's really endearing. Plus the fact that we know what she's turned into and how he's going to be head over heels about saving her, even though we know it's going to be a journey for nothing.
Exactly.
So again, it's
I
kind of
guess that's kind of the joke of the whole series.
well, it's like the tragedy, underlying tragedy of the series is that he's putting all this effort into something it's not going to pay off. It's like kind of interesting.
Exactly.
It's an interesting premise, kind of like Monsters University, of like we know our main character is going to fail at his initial goal.
Very true. Very true.
Anyway, so let's see. I love now Galavant after he's kind of explained his background here. Again, this really made me on Galavant's side because at first I said, okay, he's a cool guy, but now he kind of lost his way, and this really made me invest myself in the guy. So now he says, "Look, I want to help you, but I'm out of the business for helping people." And then she mentions, "Oh, well, someone has to stop King Richard." And then, oh, wait, you just say King Richard? Oh, he's got a score to settle.
Oh yeah. He's back, baby. He's back.
Meanwhile, King has gotten the gem from her.
Hmm.
And he's all happy, saying, "Oh, the wife's gonna like this." Then she walks in and says, "Oh, honey, I have something to tell you." It's just constantly berates him, saying, "Oh, Galavant would find it fast. You find the gem." Pretty much just yells at him. Then he hides it, and basically he's gonna hold off on giving it to her because he wants to impress her by doing something that he's never done before.
Again, I'm getting major Ice King vibes from this guy.
Yeah, he wants to fulfill his namesake. He wants to kill Galavant.
All I want to do is impress the ladies. Okay, so let's.
So he strikes a deal with the princess.
Yeah.
And by the way, Gareth keeps interjecting, saying that she's fat, and of course she's not fat.
Right.
And I just love again the king just kind of scolding Gareth. Gareth, come on, man. He was just pointing at, like, no, she's not fat. Look at her. She's look at her. She's a little. Basically, they call her poor. Yeah, it's really funny, but she's not at all. He basically says he likes him really petite, pretty much. That's why he's. He's so picky, that Gareth. Anyway, so King gives her like a long list of instructions. Pretty much, you're gonna lead Galavant to a trap here, and like tell him like all this flowery dialogue. And he says, "You really should be writing this down." He says, "No, I can remember." He said, "No, you're sure it's a lot of stuff to remember." "No, she's got a really good memory, like an iron trap." I said, "Okay." I just feel really better if you wrote it down, though.
Yeah.
Anyways,
kind of like I feel like that line is kind of like maybe I don't know, maybe sort of a commentary on like just the whole like idea of people living within musicals and just kind of spontaneously coming up with like these these harmonies and choruses and lyrics and everything.
Yeah, but it's also a thing, like, when you watch any movie, it's like, oh, man, that's a lot of steps to remember for the overall mission. Don't you want to write that down a little?
Very true. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of, like, at the point where it's like, shit, I should be writing all this down myself, but I can't even keep track of it.
It's a realistic thing. I love how the king is such a realistic guy. He's just pointing at, maybe you should write this down. I don't want you to forget any of this.
Right. Okay, so what's our big closing number here?
So basically, we kind of melded past and present here. So now we see that she is feeding into the trap by telling Galavant all this stuff, pretty much saying that Madeline regrets her actions and she's begging for him. She's been screaming out for Galavant to save her. Now he's inspired. Now he's music's getting triumphant. He's inspired and he's back.
Galavant.
Yeah, and as the song's going, we see through not much of a montage, just kind of our closing montageness. The king's training, he sucks at it. Jester, and we find out the Jester apparently was our not much of a narrator in this first episode. He doesn't come back as the narrator, but he's been narrating.
Oh, really? Interesting.
We see at the end of the episode he's been talking over the stuff, and
right.
Also, I think it's implied he's been singing, too, the ending song, perhaps.
That's right. I did kind of notice that there was kind of an unseen voice singing certain parts. Okay.
It must be him, then. Anyway, so we find Jester's the one who's been singing, and then he basically the queen's there, and she says, come here and do your jobs. Knock, knock, who's there? Not that job, the other one. And essentially, let's just say they make some smiles happen off screen. Their legs in the air.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty much where we leave the episode off. Just our heroes are now on a journey, and they're off on a journey.
Yeah, I definitely think episode 2 is an improvement. I'm assuming the show's probably going to get a little bit better as it goes along, but
yeah.
I'm still not hooked on this thing, though. I still got more problems with it than I have. You're right. It's very tongue-in-cheek. I think the songs are pretty catchy. The acting's fun. The King Richard character is very much the comedic highlight. It's just for some reason all the ingredients just aren't gelling for me just yet, and I can't really explain why. I don't know. I'll just have to watch some more of it, I guess.
All right. Okay, well, I guess it's just overall one last final thoughts on it. I guess that's your final thought, and my final thought is again, I liked it. Munson, he's really selling me as King Richard. The villain stuff is the best part of the show. Galavant also, I just overall I find it, as I've kind of said before, I find the characters endearing that they are going through these weird things. Like you feel for Galavant, you want him to succeed. Of course, you know he's kind of doomed for failure here, but he's, you know, he has this kind of this not simpleton, like a simpleton hopefulness to him.
Sure,
But,
sure.
you know, he is you root for guy. You see, like he's a warrior who's lost his way, and he's going on a journey to kind of refine his courage and become the warrior he knows he is.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and the king's trying to better himself with the big speed bump of he's the villain. It's just the idea that these two guys are the journey of these two guys is going to be really interesting to see and how they link up at the end. That's what I'm really interested in seeing.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So the point is that I thought it was really fun, really fun. At the very least, you know, it's fun and really catchy with the music.
I mean, yeah, I like we said, it definitely had a really good pace with the music. It really got you drawn in right away. I mean, it's decent main characters. They've got good I don't know. Maybe with this first episode, I just didn't like all the jumping around in time. Maybe that's kind of why it kind of got off at the wrong foot to me.
Yeah, and also I think it definitely has. Let's talk about like, a bit of the Tangled humor in this too. By the way, so what do you like? Do you not just Tangled humor? Do you feel any like the Tangled humor is in this at all?
I mean, to tell you the truth, I've only seen Tangled once, so I kind of have to go back and rewatch. But yeah, I can see it in certain spots. Like, there's definitely a tongue-in-cheek vibe to the whole thing. Maybe the whole idea of Galavant sort of being this, you know, he sort of projects this image of being this kind of heroic guy, but in reality he's a little bit of a coward, much like Eugene / Flynn Rider. Yeah, right. So I can kind of see some parallels, but I'm kind of, honestly, the thing I'm having a much harder time getting past with the Monty Python comparisons.
Yeah, well, we gotta come on. Just look at it, like try to block it out. Look at it as his own thing.
Well, yeah, but if
like imagine.
I mean, can you say that about, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, like something that's like just blatantly a ripoff? Like, can you just like look at, oh gosh, I don't know, I'm coming up with bad examples here, but can you just look at I don't know, like a DreamWorks movie, and I'm coming up with bad examples.
Well, I mean, I can look at Shark Tale as its own thing. It's very inferior to Finding Nemo because
how do you know I was going to bring up Shark Tale?
Well, I'm just saying it's so inferior. It looks like this in no way looks as the quality product that is Nemo. It just only vaguely relates to it because it's fish and it's underwater. But I see no comparison with that though.
Right. I don't know. But okay, well we should probably wrap this up.
All right. So let's close this out.
Yeah.
Musically.
Ooh.
Now that's as far we go.
So join us on next show
as we review and go.
Galavant.